These men will disgrace you. Why is your colleague looking at your human parts that should not be revealed? This is so creepy. This is giving me the creeps. Like, when alone with her while someone else was not there. Banter, Nibo. Banter where? If I was that dispenser, oh my god, I would have had like creepy crawlies all over my body. Like, what in the world? He apologized and asked her whether she got a good look at it. What's the point of apologizing? This uncle is not serious. Is uncle like, is everything all right? Something is wrong with this gentleman. Okay, so there's gonna be lots of chatting in this video. This first story I'm about to tell you guys, I'm sure it's not completely foreign to you guys, but let's just talk about it because this is something that I feel like needs to be spoken of. I've heard a series of things like this happening in the world of pharmacy, and I've just been like, huh? But when this one made it to the news, I was like, we have to talk about it. Let's talk about it, all right? So the topic that chemists and druggists have given it is locum handed 3-month suspension for showing colleague picture of penis. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on YouTube, but basically this locum pharmacist was showing a colleague a picture of his body parts, his private organs, like things that you should keep for your loved ones, your wife, your intimate partners. Like, why is your colleague looking at your human parts that should not be revealed? Anyways, let's get into it. So I'm not going to be mentioning his name. I don't know, I just don't feel okay about mentioning his name. His name is on the article. If you've got access to chemists and druggists, please go ahead and read it. I'm sharing this information for learning purposes, and if there's any one of you who watches my video and has a tendency for something like this, search your hearts, like search yourself deeply. If things like this ever crop up in your mind, then you need to stay and watch this video. The rest of you can watch it for entertainment, but if you know that you have a tendency for things like this, then just please just sit still. All right, so this pharmacist was handed a suspension at a fitness to practice committee hearing held last month in July. So he showed a female colleague a picture of his and repeatedly made sexually inappropriate comments to her while working as a locum. He made inappropriate comments to a dispenser while employed as a locum responsible pharmacist, showing her a picture of his erect when alone with her while the other dispenser was taking lunch. This is so creepy. This is giving me the creeps. Like, when alone with her while someone else was not there. If I was that dispenser, oh my god, I would have had like creepy crawlies all over my body. Like, what in the world? Despite the dispenser immediately walking away, he continued to make comments about the photograph to her. It's so funny because I didn't really read this initially. I've just, skimmed through it. So I'm reading it properly now, and bruh, uncle. Anyways, he apologized and asked her whether she got a good look at it. What's the point of apologizing? I don't know, are you apologizing that you had to take the picture away quickly, or are you apologizing that, oh, it was just a flash, like I can't show you the actual real thing now, it was just a photo, but did you get a good look at it just so it's in your memory? Like, did it stay, did it stick? And saying that he was glad that nobody else had seen the photo. This uncle is not serious. He was glad that no one else had seen the photo. Like, you intentionally brought out a photo of your body parts when no one else was there, and you are glad that no one else saw it. Is uncle like, is everything all right? This does not make sense. Like, he's just giving me all sorts of, something is wrong with this gentleman. And I'm not here to shame him. Well, I honestly would not mind shaming him, because things like this, we should not even condone it in any way whatsoever. Let's carry on. Mr. X admitted that he had shown the dispenser a photograph of his erect stash, to making comments related to the dispenser's physical appearance, and that his behavior was inappropriate. So I guess, okay, he actually admitted to knowing that he did something that was completely wrong. Okay. However, he said that the comments were banter. Bruh. Banter Nibo. Banter where? Banter how? Banter what? How can you say things like that? Make someone feel so uncomfortable and come out and say it was banter. Like, in this day and age, it does not make sense that someone who is learned will come out and say that was banter. Like, you obviously knew what you were doing. You knew your intentions. You obviously didn't realize this might backfire on you. I don't even know if he has done this before and he has gotten punished for it before, but maybe he hasn't. That's why they only gave him a 3-month suspension. But banter? Get out of here, man. Anyways, so he claimed he had inadvertently swiped onto the explicit picture. Okay, so what were you trying to show her? See, you guys, I'm just really irritated. Mr. X, who is married and recently had a second. See, men, these men will disgrace you. Why? I'm so animated in this one because this is so irritating to me. Anyways, he has also just had a second child and said he was not sexually attracted to the dispenser, according to the documents. But the committee found Mr. X's explanation less plausible considering the facts of the case, it said. It added that while he claimed that his comments aimed to create a favorable impression and good working relationship, this was at odds with the evidence that he had spent most of the morning on the mobile phone rather than assisting the dispensary. So he was claiming that he was trying to build a good working relationship. However, there was enough evidence to prove that he was on his phone most of that morning and not actually working. So how exactly are you trying to build a good working relationship when you're not trying to work? Make it make sense. So he met the 2 dispensers who worked at that store that morning when he has been brought in as a locum and introductions were made. One of the dispensers mentioned that she was a 40-year-old lady and he responded that, oh, you look younger. Well, that's a compliment around in this end. Like, if you tell someone they look younger, they love it. So you always tell people they look younger, right? So I don't know where that's coming from or going to. The dispenser took this as a compliment and said that he could work there again. Haven't we all heard that? Oh my god, you look like you're 20. Oh my god, you can so come back here. I love you. Leave a thumbs up or leave a comment in the comment section below if you've heard that exact few lines used in succession. Like, I've heard it many times, and that's because obviously I like to banter and I like to flatter my dispensers and my staff and my team. I like to actually say things to make them feel good, and sometimes I actually do mean these things. So yeah, he started making more personal comments to this dispenser, saying that she had a really nice figure and that her partner would be a lucky man and that she looked fit walking around in the dispensary. She said she had been ignoring these remarks, which made her feel very uncomfortable. At around 12:45 p.m, he was alone in the dispensary with her when the other dispenser went on her lunch break. He asked her to look at photographs of renovations that he was undertaking at his home, and while at first the photographs were of building work, he then swiped onto a full screen picture of his. The dispenser was shocked and walked away from him. He apologized, saying that he had not realized that the photograph was there. Despite the dispenser asking him to drop it, he continued to bring up the incident to apologize and asked her if she had got a good look at it. I don't know why he's even trying to plead innocence if he ends it with that, have you got a good look at it? The next day, the dispenser lodged a complaint about his behavior to their superintendent pharmacist and said that she will be reporting him to the GPHC. So this is what the committee said. The committee said that Mr. Hark's misconduct was mitigated by the fact that it only happened on one day and that there was no physical touching. In its determination, this meant that the sexual misconduct was at the lower end of the scale. Okay, we'll get to it. The committee said that he had repeatedly apologized and was ashamed and remorseful and cooperated fully with the investigation. It was also found that there was a low risk that he would act in this way again and was otherwise a man of good character. Mr. X, who was recently qualified as a registered pharmacist at the time of the event gave evidence that he was stressed at the time, but the committee found that there was insufficient evidence to demonstrate that this was a relevant factor. But despite his claim that he had shown the photograph of his by accident, the committee concluded that he had presented the image deliberately in order to obtain sexual gratification or in pursuit of a sexual relationship or interaction. The committee found the allegations amounted to misconduct and decided to suspend Mr. X from the register for 3 months. It's only a short period of suspension to mark the seriousness of the registrant's unacceptable sexual conduct due to his genuine insight and remorse and meaningful steps to remediate. In reaching its conclusion, the committee took into account that Mr. X did not admit to deliberately showing the photograph of his erect or that his actions were sexually motivated, but it considered that this was probably due to embarrassment and shame, emotions which he had demonstrated throughout the hearing. Mr. X was not subject to an interim measure of suspension, as this was not desirable in this case. Now let's chat, guys. Let's talk about this case. Please let me know what you think in the comment section below. I personally think from the inappropriate comments he had already been making to actually showing those photos when no one else was around, I don't see how that dispenser would not be feeling like harassed. This is harassment, if you ask me. And in as much as he can claim that it was not deliberate, there are so many signs that somehow this was done on purpose, right? And he's just trying to cover his tracks. Now, they've given him a short suspension period because I guess he doesn't have any evidence that he has been like this in the past, which is understandable. But I think it's fair, since there's nothing else to prove that he did this intentionally. Obviously he did, but then there's nothing else to prove that he will carry on behaving like this. It might have been a one-off possession by evil spirits. I don't know what it was. Or he was probably stressed at home, but then the workplace is not where you behave like that, especially as a registered healthcare professional. Now, I bring this story to my page just because I'm quite familiar with a lot of sexual harassment that in a lot of places slide without being picked up, right? And I want people to realize that we are now in a society in the UK here where things like this will get picked up. So if you're coming from somewhere where it's these things, you know, you can pay someone, bribe someone, do something, or in your tradition, in your culture, somehow misogyny is the order of the day, you might want to rethink what you're doing, because people are switched on. You don't want to be harassing people. You don't want to be sexually trying to, like, you know, disgust people. And it does not make sense that you would even, whilst you're at work, do something like this. I'm so sorry, guys, if you're hearing the noise outside. I have my windows open because it is so hot. Anyways, it just does not make sense that you would do anything like this in this day and age, in this current society, in this climate that we live in. So if you're anybody who is watching me and you have this kind of spirit in you, like if there's any way that things like this can crop up in your spirit, I'm going to pray for you first and foremost. I pray that this spirit will leave you. I pray that by the power of the blood of Jesus, everything that's going to make you want to do something like this, that will put you to shame, should leave you right now, because it is definitely not normal that anyone will behave like this. There's definitely a lot more to it. And it's just sad that he only just had a second child. I can imagine his poor wife now finding out about all of this. This is just madness, crazy. However, in as much as I'm saying what he has done is crazy, the person behind it is human, and he has gotten his sentence. And I'm sure if something like this comes up again, he might be put on the sex offenders list, which means that he would struggle in future to get a lot of things done, which means that wherever he goes in future, his name will come up and they will flag him, and he would not get a job. He will not be able to be in places where people feel like they will be at risk. He will literally be sidelined for the rest of his life. So I'm sure he has that information, and he will work on making sure something like this does not happen again. Perhaps stop showing people pictures on your phone at work, or perhaps when you want to show them a picture, find the picture, show it to them, do not slide left or right. I'm just praying that he finds peace and he finds healing. And I'm praying that whatever the spirit that pushed him into doing something like this leaves him this very moment. This video has actually gone on quite longer than I expected, so I would say watch out for a part 2 of what's in the news, because I'm going to then be reading the second story, which you need to stay tuned for, because that one also has a lot of foolishness, foolery, things that, you know, just don't make sense going on. So thank you guys for watching my video, and leave a like, comment in the comment section below if you've ever heard or witnessed or seen anything like this, or if you have anything to add to what I've said, please let me know in the comment section below, and I will catch you in my next video. If you're new to my channel, subscribe.